Alright, I had a minute, and I thought that I would remake this video since I got rid of a lot of my videos. Most of them. I got rid of pretty much all of them. I only saved a few of my shorts. And then what I've posted in the past, month, I think. So I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm carnivore and how I got here. And really what I want to focus on today is my oxalate poisoning story and how I got to be poisoned with oxalates, the damage that it caused my body, and the healing journey, which has been fun. And I also want to bring in the aesthetic part of it, how it damaged my nose. So my nose wasn't always shaped like this, okay? So my nose is deformed. It is very formed on this side, deformed, and over here, and this side is clearly the worst. Like, this side is more normal, all right? This side is definitely more deformed. And this is the side that suffered, was it the most damage? I mean, I had it all in my nose, like the whole nose, but I used to get sores here and here. But as far as like inside, all up and around, I would have it literally all around the inside of my nose, on this part, way up, all of it. I remember getting really, I had them bad everywhere, but I remember getting extremely huge ones and extremely painful ones that would literally stick out and form these huge bumps on my nose, and it would make my nose get all swollen. And my whole nose would get swollen. Like, again, you got to keep it in perspective. My whole nose was horrible, but it was this side that seemed to get it the worst, like the most intense, okay? Kind of like getting run over by a truck 10 times. And then that truck comes over and keeps running you over after you've already been mangled, right? So I felt like this part got overkill, just this side of my nose. And then I got frostbite, and the frostbite damaged my nose. And my nose swelled really bad. I was really scared. My whole face was frostburned really, really badly. Like, it was actually really, really scary. And it affected my nose very badly. And that was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I actually thought for a minute that I might need surgery. That's how bad it was. But it did eventually heal. And because I had the oxalate damage that had damaged my nose as well, the combination of that and the frostbite, yeah, left me with a funky, funky nose. Now, again, it is what it is, right? It works. I can breathe good. My nose works. I'm glad I have a nose. So, whatever. I would never think of like having surgery, but it is funky, and I don't like it. Like, I don't like it, but what are you going to do, right? If I want, I can play with it with a little makeup and contour, but I usually don't bother. But what I wanted to say is that through that, and having all of that oxalate damage, it has absolutely traumatized my nose and caused some issues, for sure. And there's quite a bit of deformity in there. Now, I know our nose changes as we age, okay? But this is directly related to the damage because it's clear. Like, I can see it. Didn't look like this, and then I started having oxalates and sores in my nose for a multitude of years. I had the sores in my nose ever since I was like 18, but it got progressively worse. And then I went through a period where it was so bad that I literally had oxalate crystals coming out my nose. And that was when the nose situation started to get out of control. Like, there were days where I wouldn't even want to leave my house because my nose would be like twice the size that it is now. And it was just awful. So not only did it look bad, but it was so painful. I couldn't even stand it. And for those of you that watch my videos, you guys know me. I don't take meds. I am hardcore. Like, I don't take anything. So yeah, I just suffered. But so anyway, I have a little bit of deformity there. And going carnivore was hands down the best, one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I still consumed raw milk, which is the calcium that is necessary to help get these oxalates out of your body. I maintained the raw milk. I was actually drinking a lot of raw milk when I first went carnivore, like a half a gallon a day. And I maintained that for quite a few years, actually, where I was legit drinking almost a half a gallon a day. I do great with raw milk. Like, my body, I do great with it. It's a lot of carbs, though. And then once I got everything under control, I started to reduce the amount of raw milk that I was drinking. So I don't drink that much anymore, but I did for the longest time. And I've even done the raw milk diet. I did it for 7 days on multiple occasions. I can't say that I really noticed anything significant, although I felt fine, did fine. I don't know. It was almost like my body just needed time to reestablish balance. And when I started to reduce the milk and add more meat in, then I was lowering my carbs and getting a lot more full, because the raw milk just didn't fill me up the same way that meat did. And for the longest time too, because of my situation with my stomach and my esophagus, it was hard for me to eat a lot of meat. So the raw milk was like my saving grace. It literally, I believe it like saved my life, because there was a time when I had Lyme disease that I couldn't eat anything. And the only thing that I could do was drink raw milk. And yeah, it got me through. It got me through, and actually I ended up healing and getting better. So, and then I was able to add meat back in, and then I was definitely doing better. So the oxalate damage that I suffered was horrible, and it damaged my nose, and I'm still in the process of like hoping to heal it. Although I don't know that I will heal the deformity. I think that it literally has like affected the cartilage and the bone here. So like, I don't know how much. I just don't know if I'll ever be able to heal that. I think I would need surgery to like carve that all down, but I'm not doing that. I'm not having surgery on my nose unless I was in a car accident or something. That's not happening. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because, people are funny. People have these ideas about things, and, people think, well, there's no need to be carnivore. There is for me. Because every time I add vegetables back in, my symptoms flare and they just don't make me feel good. So for me, it is an absolute necessity. And I think if you look at my background, which is pretty rough, and all of the problems that I've gone through to get here, there is no way I'm going back that way. Okay. And I've had vegetables in my diet forever. I've talked about this in other videos. My grandparents always had a garden. I grew up on vegetables. I grew up eating vegetables. I liked vegetables. I was like the vegetable kid. And I ate a ton of carbohydrate foods. I was absolutely addicted to carbs. I didn't eat a lot of meat. Going vegan was actually really, really easy for me. When I went vegan in my, oh my gosh, I think it was like 20 when I went vegan. Very easy for me, because it's all carbs, right? Until your body starts falling apart, and until you start to see that you are absolutely not thriving. And it took me a really long time to snap out of that. And then I went Weston Price, added raw milk and meat into my diet, but I was still consuming an enormous amount of vegetables. It was actually a joke. I was like, yeah, I'm still vegan. I just eat meat and drink raw milk, because that is how many vegetables I was eating. I was eating them with every meal, because I was absolutely brainwashed into thinking that they're really good for you. They never did me any favors. My health was never great. I was never thriving, never felt great. I never felt great in my life, ever. Then, of course, I got Lyme, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. But I never felt great in my life, ever. And then, of course, getting Lyme was just, I really thought like it was going to be over for me. But interestingly enough, when I had Lyme, I ended up having this instinctive need to just drink raw milk and eat meat. And I didn't want anything else. So I just followed that. And when I followed that, I would get better. And then I would think, oh my gosh, I have to add vegetables back in. And I would add vegetables back in, and I would actually get worse again. And there was a pattern, but I didn't get it yet. I still really believed that vegetables were good, and I had to somehow keep introducing them into my diet. And every time I did, it never went well. And so prior to going carnivore, I was fairly, it wasn't super low carb because I was drinking milk, I was drinking raw milk, but my vegetable count was getting lower because I just knew I felt better without it. So I was just keeping it low and eating more meat and drinking more milk. And then when I went carnivore, I just got rid of the vegetables because I had gotten rid of grains when I had Lyme, because grains legit were killing me. So that I figured out, and I got rid of the grains, and at least a bunch of my symptoms went away. And then I never made the connection really to the vegetables until I did. And then I realized, wow, vegetables aren't doing me any favors. And then when I went carnivore and just got rid of the last bit of vegetables that I was consuming, my life changed. And for the first time in my life, I actually felt amazing. And I couldn't even believe it. Like, I could not even believe how good I felt. Like, I'm like, am I in a dream? Like, is this a dream? Like, how can I feel this good? I didn't even know it was possible. Then I ended up sailing through menopause without any of the typical menopausal symptoms that you hear women complaining about. I had zero perimenopause, zero. I just went along, my cycle stopped, and that was it. Had a few hot flashes, but easy. Really, really easy. Never went through the perimenopausal stuff, nothing. My cycles were completely normal, like they always were, until the day it stopped. So there was no bucking, there was no transition, there was no bumpiness, there was no changing in my cycles, there was no stuff going on, like nothing. I just felt normal, what I thought was normal. I just was normal for me. And then, of course, going carnivore, I felt amazing, like truly amazing. And then my cycle stopped and I went through menopause and it was easy. And that was, 5 years ago? I'm trying to think, 5 years ago? 5 or 6 years ago? I don't know. I lose track of time. 6 years ago now, maybe? Yeah, 6 years ago, I think. Or something like that. 5 years? I don't know. Anyway. And I'm feeling better now than I've ever felt in my life. So that is why I will never go back. You will never see me going back that way. Been there, done that. And I did it a long time. I did veganism for 13 years and I did Weston Price style eating for, did I say 13 or 15? Vegan for 13 years and then Weston Price style for 15 years. And I will never be going back that way. Never. Because what's my other option? There is no other option. Fruit? I hate fruit. Well, I say that. I can handle a little bit of fruit from time to time, but if you told me all I could eat was fruit, I'd kill myself. Like, I'm not kidding you. I would kill myself. I couldn't eat it for one day. Never mind every day. The thought of that is disgusting to me. Like, absolutely disgusting. Ugh, I just can't even imagine. Anyway, so there's really nowhere for me to go. This is it. I've landed. And that's how I feel. I've landed. I've landed with something that my body absolutely loves and it makes me thrive. And I am fairly high fat carnivore. I don't know that I would say keto carnivore because I don't really know if 80% of my food is fat. I don't think I'm quite that high, but I'm definitely high fat carnivore. And I do get a little bit of carbs from the raw dairy that I consume. And I do put a tiny bit of jam in my clabber, my raw clabber, when I have that, just to make it more palatable. And I do that to get more food in, because otherwise it's hard for me to eat the amount of food that my body needs. Yeah, but that's what I do. It works for me. And honestly, I feel crazy good. Crazy good. And who would have thought? I'm going to be 57 in a couple of months. And who would have thought that I feel better at 57 than I did ever in my life? Ever. Like, legit ever. I can't even say better than a teenager. I was miserable as a teenager. I was a wreck. I was a train wreck as a teenager. But I honestly feel better now than I did even before I had Lyme, because there was probably a period in my life where I was feeling like all right, you know, okay, not great, but okay. And I feel better now than I ever have. So there hasn't been a day in my life that I feel as good as I do now, which is saying something, because I've gone through menopause and I'm older and I feel incredible. So all of these women who are thinking, you know, HRT and all of that, that you need it and you just need to get your diet and your lifestyle correct. Because a healthy, well-nourished body, it can do amazing things. And I can't like even believe it. Like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, how do I feel this good in the morning? Like mornings were always hell for me. I always felt hungover. I like was perpetually hungover in the morning. And it was just a shitty ass feeling. And it has happened my whole life. Like this has just been my norm. Then all of a sudden I go carnivore, and after a couple of months I'm like getting up in the morning and I'm feeling great. And my nose isn't running all the time anymore. And I'm not having all of these crazy symptoms anymore. And every little quirky thing that I had was basically gone. Still have a few little things, just a few. But most of the things are significantly better, if not gone completely. Some of the things are gone completely. So, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. And again, I don't preach it. I don't care what anybody else does. But if you're tired of suffering and being tired and sick of being miserable, maybe try nourishing your body with animal foods and not listening to the fake authorities, okay, because their suggestions are actually, if they worked, then we probably wouldn't need the healthcare system as much as people do. And if it worked for women, especially aging women, women going through menopause, if that advice worked, they wouldn't need HRT. Let that sink in. All right? Signing out.